Now, there's a big problem in the Diablo 2 community. I see it all the time, either on comments under my video or in different message boards, Reddit, Facebook groups, things along those lines. People are having all different sorts of problems, whether it's not enough characters because they got all these mules. Maybe they're doing run after run after run, running the same place over and over again. And they're kind of like, maybe I'll call it losing interest, or maybe, it's just not that fun to do the exact same thing over and over again. You can completely understand. And you know whose fault that is? It's my fault. Now, it's not just me. I'm kind of all content creators in general, and none of us did it on purpose. It's kind of an unintended consequence of trying to make interesting videos. I'm going to explain what exactly we did right now. Now, first up is something you see a ton of content creators do, and that is, hey, we're rocking 1,000 pit runs. Now, I do this all the time, and even while I'm doing it or on the videos, people will comment, on the live stream or in the comment section of the video, hey man, don't you get boring doing these 1,000 runs, the same thing over and over again? Or you'll hear people that say they got halfway through a set of runs on different message boards and they say they just got bored of doing it and they just kind of gave up. The reason why they get bored is because actually doing 1,000 of the exact same run over and over again, it can get boring. It just does. Now, it's a little bit different in my circumstance or any other live streamers because I'm communicating with the live chat, we're answering questions, joking around, and all that kind of stuff. But usually when the average person's sitting at home playing, they don't have a live chat going. They're not talking with people. So they're literally just sitting there grinding and grinding and grinding. So I got kind of two little tips of advice for people. They can either take one or the other or do a combination of both. First of all, when you're doing these large sets of runs, if you got a second monitor, which I highly recommend, you can get one for like 10 bucks at a resale shop. Go ahead and hook that up. You have a podcast, you have a video, or anything along those lines, any other thing. You kind of have multiple instances of entertainment rocking at the exact same time. This I highly recommend with how cheap you can get a used monitor nowadays. I mean, why wouldn't you hook up a second monitor, right? Unless I understand some people rocking laptops sitting in front on the couch in front of the TV or something. But if you got a PC, get yourself a second monitor. On top of that, this whole 1,000 runs type of situation, I don't even do this all the time, especially when I'm playing online, like at a ladder reset and things like that. I would recommend for a vast majority of people, unless there's specifically something that you definitely want to do. Maybe at the beginning of single player, you're going to run lower Kurast over and over again to get your runes to make Infinity or Enigma or whatever you're doing, perhaps running the Countess to get runes and keys, things along those lines. If you're not doing these specific tasks for specific reasons, I would never run the exact same location over and over and over again. Generally, what I do on a ladder reset, I'll pick 4, 5, 6, 7 locations that I go hit here, there, with that are good for the particular type of build that I'm rocking. And that's kind of the Magic Find run that I'll do. Maybe I'll go hit Andariel, Mephisto, Eldritch and Shank, Tyndall, Thresh Shocket, and then go to another game. So you have a variety of different monsters and locations that you're taking out, hopefully getting lucky and getting the godly gear. Now, the reason us content creators do like 1,000 runs to a place or 500 or 5,000 or whatever number that we choose, it's because it just kind of makes for a good title. It just kind of makes for a good video concept. The title of your video being, hey, I did random magic finding and I found stuff, doesn't work for the YouTube algorithm. So there's a particular reason why YouTubers do those type of things, but it's not necessarily the most fun thing to do. Now, I will admit, number 2, 3, and 4, they all kind of are in a triangle connected to each other, but I made them their own separate things here. And that is for number 2 here, saving everything. I do hear a lot about people having all of these mules and they can't really make any new characters, or they got to delete somebody because their character slots are all full. Well, part of this problem is I think you're saving too much. And I think maybe some people either get the wrong idea from us content creators when you see us having all these mules, saving all these uniques. But for someone like myself, I'm doing a holy grail. And even for me doing a holy grail, I don't even save every single item in the entire game. I only save the stuff that I need. On a ladder reset, you're probably not going to end up doing like 40 different builds. So you don't really need to save every piece of gear that you're not going to use on all these different builds. And also some of these pieces of gear that maybe you want to use for these builds, they don't really have any trade value, but even though they're useful for these builds. So I just think maybe people get the wrong idea from us content creators doing holy grail, seeing us save up all of this stuff and end up saving way more items than they actually need. Just go ahead and give those away to like new people, or honestly, you can kind of just toss them on the ground. What do you ever do with this stuff after the ladder resets anyways? Next up is doing mass crafting. Now, that's one thing that when I'm playing on ladder reset or I'm not specifically saving stuff up to make a video for it, I never, ever do that type of mass crafting. What I generally do is, let's say I'm trying to reroll grand charms. As soon as I get 3 perfect gems, I keep a grand charm over in the corner of my inventory and I reroll it as soon as I get 3 of them. I never save up all those perfect gems. You'll see sometimes, hey, rerolling grand charms with 1,000 perfect gems or something like that. I never do that in real life unless I'm trying to make a video. Or you'll see the mass crafting with the caster amulets, saving up 100 sets for all these crafted caster amulets. If I'm actually trying to craft caster amulets, I never save up all that stuff. And that'll save you a mega ton of space. I literally just do those crafted caster amulets one at a time as I find the materials for them. And the reason I say all 3 of these kind of go together for number 4 here, I think people have way too many mules, and they kind of get that idea from like these last 2 things I said. When you see my character screen when I'm playing Diablo 2 Resurrected, I have crafted caster amulet supply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I have all these mules. I have mules for belts and hats. I have another mule for gloves and wands. So you end up seeing all these different mules, and I don't really think this stuff is necessary. This kind of, like I said, lumps into the other 2 and kind of all of them. It's just stuff that content creators do for, like the name implies, making content for YouTube that you don't necessarily need. And the 5th, and could be the most important one, is always having to have the absolute best in slot gear. Now, me being a content creator and I've been playing the single player Holy Grail, I have really dang good gear when I'm rocking out there, slaughtering down the Chaos Sanctuary and things like that. But even myself, I fall into this trap sometimes where I think I need and have to have the best in slot gear, but you really don't. And from watching content creators, we kind of play so much that we can get really good gear. And it's going to be incredibly difficult for the average person to get that type of gear. So I would really highly recommend, don't think you literally have to have perfect gear from watching the content creators always have perfect gear. You can find really amazing, great budget type of builds and just different type of gear and what to look for on that gear on different types of YouTube videos. I have a bunch of budget build guide videos and things along those lines. Every content creator does. So don't fall in that trap to thinking, oh, I can't do this or that because I'm not going to get all this best in slot gear like the content creators do. So these are 5 things that the content creators do the average person does not. Let me know down in the comments or anything else you see content creators do that really you think the average person should not do. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe up before you go, and huge mega shout out to anybody with channel memberships, Twitch subs, anyone who super chats, patrons, anything like that for supporting the channel. It really does make it possible for me to keep streaming and making videos on this channel. Peace out, fellas, and keep slaying.